Well, today I'd like to talk to you for a couple minutes about the Bebop Dominant scale. I'd love to break down the use of Chromaticism in jazz through the use of the Bebop Dominant scale. And I'd love to show you some exercises and some ways that you can add those moves to your own playing. First, I'd just like to discuss the fact that I graduated college in 1998 with a degree in jazz guitar studies. Even though I had learned a lot in my time in college, when I got finished with college, I got turned on to a series of books called How to Play Bebop by David Baker, and they seem to really speak to me. I used the studies from those books to inform my playing in the next years and sort of develop in a different way. Today I'd like to introduce you to the concept of the Bebop Dominant and some of the exercises from David Baker's book, and at least get started on how you can use some of these moves in your own playing. The first move that most everybody teaches you with Bebop Dominant is the fact that you have the major 7 as a passing tone to the dominant 7. That's the chromatic move as it relates to the theory behind the scale. The rest of the chord tones then all land on the beat when I play this scale. Therefore, it's another way of outlining the harmony of the chord itself. C, B flat, G, E, C are going to stick out because those are going to be played with my quarter note. All the non-chord tones end up on upbeats. I have another way of teaching this scale as well to my students that I think is worth noting, and that's how the physical layout of the Bebop Dominant lays on your neck. I have 4 notes on one string, 3 notes on my next string, and then 2 notes on this string here. That's useful because when I'm transposing to other keys and creating 3 fingers of the Bebop Dominant scale, I'm going to use that knowledge to inform me. For instance, if I want to go to F, I'm going to go to the next key up in the cycle of fourths. That's going to start on the 6th fret. I'll have 4 notes on that string. I have to shift down 1 fret because of the tuning difference. And then I'm going to land on F here. So my F Bebop Dominant is, again, 4 notes, 3 notes, 2 notes with just slight variations in the fingering to make up for, or to compensate for the tuning difference of the 2nd string. My 3rd fingering might be B flat, which would be the next scale in the cycle of fourths anyway. And again, I'm playing 4 notes, 3 notes, and then just 2 notes on the 3rd string, but here my fingering is slightly different, again, to compensate for the tuning difference of the 2nd string. The next element of the Bebop Dominant is that I can start on any one of my 4 chord tones, but I keep the chromatic section of the scale as only being between the root and the flat 7. That means if I'm still in the key of C, and I'm playing the 9th chord just so you can hear it for reference, if I start on the 3rd, which is E, I'm playing from the 3rd, E, D, landing on C. That's where my chromatic passage takes me to B flat. The next 2 notes take me to G. The next 2 notes land on E. Thinking of just the next chord tones in the sequence. G would be my next one. G is a 5th. So starting on G and ending on G is another way of outlining chord tones, but this time I'm starting on my 5th, 3rd, root, 7th, 5th again. The last variation, at least in this position, staying in the same key, would start on the 7th, which is a B flat. Again, I'll play the chord for reference. B flat is my 7th. By starting on the 7th, I'm going to end with the Chromaticism. So I'm starting on my 7th, 5th, 3rd, root, chromatic down to the 7th again. All of these variations are useful concepts when you're trying to internalize this scale and the chromatic moves that it implies. My 2nd fingering of this pattern in the key of C is going to take me to 7th position on the neck. And here again, if I'm going to relate it to a chord, this would be my sort of drop 3 jazz chord version of C7. I'm starting on the 3rd, which is E on the 9th fret. I have my 2 notes on that string, 4 notes on the next string, 3 notes on the next string. The 3rd fingering I'm going to look at in the key of C using this same technique would be up on 10th fret. In this case, my E is on the 12th fret on the high E string. My chromatic is on the 2nd string. And then I'm landing on the E, which is my 3rd again, on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. Again, here it is. Often I'm going to use slurring in these positions or with the bebop in general because it makes it come across more lyrically and it sounds more like what I want to hear. For instance, if I'm down here, you might notice I'm slurring from the major 7 to the 7 and then from the 4th to the 3rd. If I take that same move to the 7th position pattern, it looks like this. Moving it again up to the 10th fret or 10th position with my 3rd fingering. You can hear how just practicing the scale by using the slurring, it makes it sound a little bit more natural and it brings out the parts of the beat that I'm trying to bring out. I can go through all 12 keys with the 3 fingerings that I've just worked through. In this case, C is here, but if I'm going to transpose to the key of F, my A, which is the 3rd, would be on 10th fret, 2nd string. So there's my F fingering. When I get into the B flat fingering, my 3rd is going to be D, which will be 10th fret on the high E string. There's my fingering for the key of B flat. So just to review, here are the 3 fingerings in C, F, and B flat. 3 again. Going up to the key of F, and repeat that. 2, 3, key of B flat. 2, 3 again. When I'm then going to transpose to all 12 keys, I can take these same 3 patterns and move them up 3 frets. The next key would be the key of E flat. That would be 10th position on the neck. Then A flat. Then the key of D flat. If I continue across that, I'm going to go up 3 frets again. At that point, I'm going to be in the key of F sharp. I can either take it in this position here, or I could go down an octave and play it in 1st position. B natural would follow, followed by E. The next 3 keys would take me to A, D, and G. That would start on 4th position. 5th position for D, although I'm going to shift. And then 5th position as well for the key of G, with a shift on the last note.